Welcome back to the channel, everybody. You already know, anime scholars, we are here to cover JJK content, and until we cover other anime, y'all gonna have to enjoy that JJK content, alright? So, without further ado, we are going to be covering the top 10 cursed tools in JJK. And mind you, cursed tools are different than cursed objects, alright? You got cursed tools, which are imbued with cursed energy over time. So take a katana, take Yuta, take his katana. Imbue with cursed energy over time, so that way it doesn't get shattered all from one instance of cursed energy being imbued into it. And after some period of time, that tool will now have cursed energy imbued into it permanently. The reason that's important is because people without cursed energy are able to pick it up and utilize it, like how Toji uses cursed tools with cursed energy even though he has 0. So that's how people are able to use these cursed tools in combat, where it's very effective for them. Also, that being said, cursed objects are basically ways for people to incarnate back into the real world. What do I mean? Sukuna, for example, lived 1,000 years ago, learned from Kenjaku how to incarnate into another vessel by, imbuing his cursed energy into, like, his finger, for example. It didn't have to be his finger, but he chose his finger. And then if somebody ate that finger and they were compatible with him, then boom, he could incarnate back into them. Meaning he could basically use his cursed technique, use his physical strength, and even change his form of the vessel to his original form if he wanted to. If not, he could just alter the mind and a little bit of the face, but he doesn't have to fully take on the form that he had 1,000 years ago. Anybody who decides to use like a cursed object, basically turn themselves into a cursed object, can incarnate like that. The death womb paintings, for example, are a good example of this, because even though they technically were cursed objects, they were basically just themselves in like a smaller form, and then any human ingests it, and then they could incarnate into what their original form was. That being said, not every single person is compatible with a cursed object. However, this is a cursed tool video, not a cursed object video. That comes later. So cursed tools, again, take a tool, imbue with cursed energy over time, it becomes stronger. They could be graded the same as a normal sorcerer, 1 through 4. And for those with special grade, other than Playful Cloud, every single special grade cursed tool has a cursed technique. And the higher ups say if it has a cursed technique, it automatically is a special grade cursed tool. So even if it's not that strong, if it has a cursed technique, it's a special grade cursed tool. Auto rule. Basically what they decided. But that's how Playful Cloud is still a special grade cursed tool, even though it doesn't have a cursed technique, because it's so powerful and it's been imbued with cursed energy for so long. So all that being said, you now understand basically in the gist of what a cursed tool is and how it gets there and why it's useful. Let's go ahead and rank them. Top 10 video coming right now. Starting off at number 10, we got the hand sword. Alright, so I needed to start off with something, right? And the hand sword is not the greatest cursed tool ever, right? Obviously it's not. It's number 10. However, most cursed tools that we see are katanas, swords, and spears. That being said, I needed to just find something that was a little bit different than just your average everyday looking katana. I really did. Like, Maki has some cool spears, but at the end of the day she goes through them pretty quickly, and she never sticks with the same weapon until we see in like basically season 3 of the manga, like, if you want to call it that. What is it, the perfect preparation arc? Pretty sure that's what it is, that we see her get her like fixed weapon, and we're actually going to talk about that because it's one of the tools on this list. But yeah, the hand sword, basically it's cool because it can levitate, and that's what the coolest part about it really is. Other than that, it like basically is the Addams Family hand with a sword at the end. The annoying dude who Sukuna took out, he's really cool with it. Like, not really cool with it, but like he knows how to use it really well. I was surprised when he beat Kukisagi, honestly. I didn't expect that, but I guess like he knows how to use that hand sword pretty well. Pretty sure his name was like Hataro or something like that. I don't remember. He's not important. Anyways, moving on to number 9. That's how not important that weapon is. Moving on to number 9 is the Chain of 1,000 Miles. This was used by Toji versus Gojo in their final clash, and it's really cool because it's a chain that, as long as you don't see one of the ends to it, it will stretch out forever. And that's pretty much how it got its name. Chain of 1,000 miles. It could go on for 1,000 miles. It's really good hand in hand with another cursed tool, But by itself, I mean, like, unless you're gonna, it doesn't really have any meaning, you know, like, unless you're gonna, like, what Rhodey said to do with, like, Thanos baby, it really is not gonna, like, do anything to another person because it's just a chain at the end of the day. Gojo used Hollow Purple and destroyed it, so there we go. Um, Moving on to number 8, Dragon Bone. Alright, so I should have mentioned at the start of this video that there will be some anime spoilers. There will be some manga spoilers in this video, and it's just how it goes. When a show ends, like when the manga ends for a show, you can't blame content creators for saying, hey, I'm going to talk about all aspects of this show because it's been over with for X amount of time. If you have not read the manga, hey, I'm sorry, but you had an opportunity to finish the story along with us who are reading it. That being said, I'm going to talk about the manga. So, if you don't want to hear about it, I mean, you know, stay in this video, but just kind of like la 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 la. Anyways, Dragon Bone. So, this one was made by Juzo, who is the guy who Gojo really crippled in season 1. He's the guy who made the hand sword. So this is the peak of his like weaponry that he made. Dragon Bone has basically thrusters going along the blade, and it basically uses cursed energy and the person's will. So if like I say, okay, let's swing and let's, you know, activate the cursed energy, then it like basically thrusts the blade forward like it was like a rocket, and that causes it to swing with crazy amounts of force. So pretty useful cursed tool, I would say so. But it's basically a normal sword with like rocket pieces attached to it, so I'm not gonna put it that high. I'm just not, especially when some of the objects on this list literally like wipe out cursed spirits or nullifies techniques. So I'm just not gonna put it that high. But it's a good number 8 spot. Number 7 is weird though. We have the festering life sword used by the cockroach cursed spirit in the Colon games versus Yuta, and this sword is basically a hatchet that shoots out insects that infest your body, and then it basically like kind of like eats you alive from like the insects. So that's why it's weird, but it could have the potential of one-shotting your opponent if they don't have RCT. If they do have RCT, then they could just, you know, flood their body with it, and then it would basically destroy the insects because cursed spirits are weak to positive energy. If they don't have RCT, then, you know, they're in trouble, and this could be a really useful sword. So that's why it's number 7, because it's either pretty good or really bad. So I think number 7 is a fair spot to put it at, especially when the next object on this list, I shouldn't say object, I should be saying tool. The next tool on this list is the black robe that we saw in episode 0 versus Gojo. Now, number 6 on this list might seem controversial to you guys because this tool literally was able to kind of put Gojo in a spot where it's like, I don't like the fact that he's able to penetrate my limitless technique. Right? It made him uncomfortable. And if you can make Gojo uncomfortable, then, you know, you're creeping into the realms where if you're anything but 5 or below, you know, like 5, yeah, because 5 or below, you want to be in the top 5, so you don't want to be high on the list. If you're creeping into that realm, but being number 6, the reason for that is because the black rope, the more you use it, then the faster it basically deletes itself. Because it basically burns up. B, Gojo destroyed it, and C, because it was like there was nothing left of it basically after the fight with Gojo, and C, how long did it take again to be able to make that curse tool? You see my point? What did he say? Decades? Centuries? How long? If you go back and you watch that episode 0 and you see how long it took, it's like, okay, I can kind of see why like it's not that high on the list. Yeah, it's great curse technique on the tool. Like, it's a great curse tool. But bro, you're basically, versus somebody who's powerful, you're basically using it once and that's it. So obviously if you didn't win that fight, then you're not going to win that fight next time you see that person. That was your only hope. So that being said, moving on to number 5. Number 5, kind of controversial, basically number 6 through 1 is, no, 6 through 2. I'm not going to say number 1 is controversial because it's basically number 1 on majority of people's list. 6 through 2 is kind of controversial, but hear me out, right? So number 5 is Sword of Extermination used by Maharaga. The reason it's number 5 is because Maharaga's the only person who can use it because it's literally equipped to his arm. But any cursed spirit he hits with it with positive energy, he wins. He's gonna one-shot them. And Sukuna even said, hey, if I was a cursed spirit, that actually would be, pretty harmful to me. Like, he didn't say it in those words, but I mean, like, you could read between the lines here. So, if you could say that Sukuna is worried about getting hit by something if he was a cursed spirit, just like the Gojo thing, yeah, you're gonna be up there. You're gonna be up there. So yeah, Sword of Extermination, number 5. I feel pretty confident about that. Fight me in the comments, I dare you. So number 4, we're moving on to the Split Soul Katana, and here we go, baby. This is one of my favorite weapons in JJK. All right, so 2 of my favorite people in JJK use this tool. So number 1 is Toji, number 2 is Maki. All right, and you gotta hear me out on this, right? So the Split Soul Katana, special great curse tool, has a curse technique. Curse technique is it does not matter the physical strength of the opponent that is getting hit by this blade. It penetrates the soul, which means it bypasses the physical strength, defense, whatever you want to call it, of the opponent. So if I'm hitting, say, like what's it called, like the Rainbow Dragon with it, who has a tough scale that you can't get through, like a tough hide, hey, guess what? Split Soul Katana cuts the soul, so it just cuts through the flesh like butter. It's crazy. Downside to it, right? The downside to this tool is the fact that you can't bring out the best of this tool unless you could perceive the soul. So Mahito, great guy for this tool. Yuji, great guy for this tool. Sukuna, great guy for this tool. Toji and Maki, I dare say they aren't the number 1 person to wield this tool. They're the only 2 who ever wielded it. But I dare say that if we gave it to somebody who actually perceives the soul and could see the outline of the soul, I dare say that they might be able to wield it more skillfully than those 2. But they are able to wield it because of their heavenly restriction, which basically makes them gods when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. So them getting a soul splitting katana, yeah, I would say that that's a really useful tool for them to use, even if they can't perceive the soul 100%. They got the physical strength to be able to back up the soul splitting portion of that katana and just cut through you still like butter. So, I mean, like, it's not the worst thing that they have it, and it's really cool object, curse tool. But at the end of the day, I feel like the person using it, I feel like we could have seen a better person use it, but we're not here to rank the users. We're here to rank the tool. And here is where the controversy really gets freaking weird, because I'm putting a cursed tool with a cursed technique at number 4, mind you, when the next one, the cursed tool, they're both special grades, the cursed tool at number 3 is Playful Cloud. And Playful Cloud doesn't have a cursed technique, mind you. It's the only one without a cursed technique out of the special grade cursed tools. Here's my thing, though. If you want to argue about this, we could swap. You could go ahead and swap them. Cool, perfectly fine. But Playful Cloud is easier to use, in my opinion, than the Split Soul Katana. Why is that? Because Playful Cloud uses your physical strength, and it gets stronger based off of your physical strength. So the more physically fit you are, and all the sorcerers we've seen have been very physically fit. The more physically fit you are, the stronger the impact of Playful Cloud. While not every single sorcerer we see can, see the outline and perceive the soul. So you see why I think Playful Cloud might be an easier tool to use, and why it's coming in at number 3. Again, if you are physically fit and you swing with it, it's going to hit way harder than if you weren't physically fit. That doesn't mean it's not going to hit hard, because it's still a special grade curse tool, but it would hit harder. Number 2 is Kamuto. I think I'm saying that right. It's Sukuna's cursed tool at the end of the show. It basically summons lightning from the sky. That's basically what it does. There's a photo of it right here. It summons lightning from the sky. I mean, that's pretty cool in my opinion. I love lightning. If you summon an element, personally, lightning to me, I'm a little biased. Lightning is one of the cooler elements. I love Sasuke's Chidori. I love his Kirin. Yeah, lightning's a cool element. I'm sorry. Lightning in Avatar, when they introduced lightning bending, really cool. So I'm going to put it at number 2. Number 1. Let me, take a moment. What do you think number 1 is? What do you think? Is it the inverted spear of heaven? Is it the thing that took Gojo out? Is it a thing that Gojo had to make sure never came back into the show? Is it a thing that Gege made sure never to introduce back into the show because if Hollow Purple or if the Divine Flame or if what's it called, domain expansion was open and you have that tool, you could just slash your way through, literally get out of it, get out of any domain, get out of any finishing technique, get out of any technique with cursed energy. You're good. You're good. You could either block it, you could slash through it, you could do whatever because you have that tool. We saw that tool was able to block a red point blank range. It's crazy. So yeah, I would say yeah, that tool number one for a fact. Actually, it's so number one in my list that I don't even think that it's even come close to being number two. I gotta be real with you. It really doesn't come close because give that tool to Sukuna or give that tool to I guess it wouldn't work with Gojo because his infinity would probably be nullified by him just holding it. So I guess it wouldn't work with him. But give that tool to Sukuna and it's over. Sukuna would be able to one-shot Gojo. Maybe. I don't know. But World's Cutting Slash ain't hitting me. All I gotta say is, bink, full counter with that thing. Yeah, no, so that's the list. That's the top 10. And if you agree with me, let me know. But if you disagree with me, definitely let me know in the comments because I'd love to, defend my list. It would be fantastic. So let's have a conversation in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, my people. Subscribe, it's helping me out. I see that you guys are subscribing. I really appreciate that. I gotta tell you guys for real that, like, when I see a subscribe come in, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I did my thing then. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. Share the video if you want. 100%, that'd be cool. I love that. And yeah, let's just have a conversation, man. Thank you guys. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video.